The formation and development of the European Union (EU). Introduction. The European Union (EU) is one of the most significant political and economic integrations in modern history. Its formation and development represent a complex process, shaped by the historical context of war, economic necessity, and a shared vision for peace and prosperity in Europe. From a post-World War II initiative to prevent further conflicts, the EU has grown into a supranational entity of 27 member states, with deep economic, political, and legal integration. This essay traces the chronological formation of the EU, its institutional evolution, treaty frameworks, enlargement phases, and current challenges. Historical background, post-war Europe, and the need for unity. 1. The devastation of World War II. After World War II, Europe was left in ruins, physically, economically, and politically. The devastation prompted European leaders to seek lasting peace and cooperation, especially between traditional rivals like France and Germany. The ideological divide between Western democracies and the Eastern Soviet bloc during the Cold War further emphasized the need for unity in Western Europe. 2. Early steps toward integration. The initial focus of integration was economic. The rationale was that shared economic interests would reduce the likelihood of future wars. 2 key milestones stand out. The Marshall Plan 1948 U.S. led economic assistance program to rebuild Europe, which encouraged cooperation among European states. The Council of Europe 1949, created to promote human rights and democracy, though it lacked supranational authority. B. Foundational steps. The European Coal and Steel Community ECSC. 1. The Schuman Declaration, 1950. French Foreign Minister Robert Schuman proposed integrating coal and steel, production key industries, under a single authority. This would make war between France and Germany not merely unthinkable, but materially impossible. 2. The Treaty of Paris, 1951. Signed by 6 countries: Belgium, France, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and West Germany, the ECSC was the first supranational European institution. It laid the groundwork for deeper economic and political integration. C. The Treaties of Rome and the formation of the EEC and Euratom. 1. Treaty of Rome, 1957. Building on the ECSC's success, the same 6 countries signed 2 treaties. European Economic Community EEC created a common market and customs union. European Atomic Energy Community Euratom promoted cooperation in nuclear energy. 2. Goals of the EEC: eliminate trade barriers, establish a common external tariff, create common policies. G. Agriculture, transport, ensure the free movement of goods, services, capital, and people. D. Institutional development and deepening integration. 1. Institutions established. The EEC established key institutions that evolved into today's EU structure. European Commission, Council of Ministers, European Parliament, initially the Assembly, European Court of Justice. 2. Single European Act, 1986. This treaty aimed to complete the internal market by 1992. It introduced new areas of cooperation, enhanced legislative efficiency, and increased the role of the European Parliament. V. The Maastricht Treaty and the birth of the EU. Ast. Treaty of Maastricht, 1992. This landmark treaty formally established the European Union and introduced the 3-pillar structure: European Communities EEC, Euratom, ECSC, Common Foreign and Security Policy, CFSP, Justice and Home Affairs, JHA. 2. European Monetary Union. The Maastricht Treaty laid the foundation for the euro, introducing convergence criteria for economic stability, and establishing the European Central Bank ECB. 3. Expansion of citizenship. It introduced the concept of EU citizenship, granting rights such as free movement, residence, and voting in local and European elections. F. The euro and economic integration. 1. Launch of the euro, 1999-2002. The euro was introduced as a non-cash currency in 1999 and fully implemented with coins and notes in 2002. It became the official currency of 12 EU countries initially and now serves 20 member states as of 2024. 2. Stability and Growth Pact. This was created to ensure fiscal discipline among Eurozone countries, setting limits on budget deficits and national debt levels. 7. Enlargement of the EU. 1. Early enlargements. 1973, Denmark, Ireland, United Kingdom. 1981, Greece. 1986, Spain and Portugal. 2. Post-Cold War expansion. After the fall of the Berlin Wall and the dissolution of the Soviet bloc, the EU expanded eastward. 1995, Austria, Finland, Sweden. 2004, largest enlargement with 10 countries, including Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic. 2007, Bulgaria and Romania. 2013, Croatia. Enlargement promoted democratization, market, economies, and political stability in post-communist Europe. G. The Lisbon Treaty and Institutional Reform. 1. Treaty of Lisbon 2007. In force 2009. This treaty replaced the failed EU constitution and reformed the EU's institutional structure, created the President of the European Council, strengthened the role of the High Representative for Foreign Affairs, expanded the use of qualified majority voting in the Council, enhanced powers of the European Parliament, gave legal personality to the EU. 2. Charter of Fundamental Rights. The Lisbon Treaty gave binding legal force to the Charter of Fundamental Rights, strengthening human rights protections. H. Crisis management and political challenges. 1. The Eurozone debt crisis, 2009-2015. Following the 2008 global financial crisis, several Eurozone countries, notably Greece, Ireland, Portugal, faced sovereign debt crises. EU institutions responded by establishing the European Stability Mechanism, ESM, strengthening fiscal governance via the Fiscal Compact, launching bailout programs and austerity measures. 2. The migration crisis, 2015. The arrival of over 1 million refugees from the Middle East and Africa created divisions among member states over burden sharing and border controls, testing the Schengen area's integrity. 3. Brexit 2020. In a historic referendum, the UK voted to leave the EU, becoming the first member state to do so. The withdrawal process culminated in the EU-UK Trade and Cooperation Agreement in 2020, redefining EU-UK relations. I. Current structure and policy areas. An. Institution. European Commission Executive Body proposes legislation. European Parliament elected legislative body. Council of the EU represents member states' governments. European Council heads of state government define political direction. Court of Justice of the EU, CJEU, ensures compliance with EU law. European Central Bank ECB manages the euro and monetary policy. 2. Key policy areas. Single market and competition policy. Economic and monetary union. Climate change and environmental policy e.g. Green Deal. Common agricultural policy CAP. Regional development and cohesion policy. Research and innovation. External relations and trade. Security and defense cooperation. J. The future of the EU opportunities and challenges. 1. Internal challenges. Rule of law backsliding in some member states e.g. Hungary, Poland. Democratic legitimacy and democratic deficit concerns. Tensions between integration and national sovereignty. 2. External pressures. Geopolitical tensions with Russia, especially post-Ukraine invasion. Strategic autonomy in defense and technology. Navigating relations with China and the U.S. Global economic competitiveness. 3. Toward greater integration, there is increasing debate over whether the EU should become a federal state, retain intergovernmentalism, or embrace a multi-speed Europe, where groups of countries integrate at different levels and paces. Conclusion. The formation and development of the European Union represent a bold and ongoing experiment in supranational governance. What began as an effort to prevent war through economic cooperation has evolved into a complex political and economic union with a global presence. Despite periodic crises, the EU has demonstrated resilience and adaptability. Its continued relevance will depend on its ability to reconcile national interests with collective goals, manage internal diversity, and assert its role in a rapidly changing world.